Welcome to this week's edition of Coach Prep. Coach Don and I are here getting ready to record episode number 86, where we're going to talk about having an every pitch mentality, being ready throughout the course of the game because you never know when something big is going to happen. Before we do that, let's talk about the Anderson Bat Company. Everything Fast Pitch is very proud to have Anderson Bat Company as our presenting sponsor. Anderson Bat Company is using the latest and greatest bat technology to corner the market in the fast pitch world. They have the -9 Rocket Tech, the -10 Carbon, and the -11 Carbon Light. Anderson Bat Company is using this technology to put a high-performing bat in the hands of hitters that really know the difference between a good bat and a great bat. We're also working with Anderson to provide a discount for all of our listeners. Go to the Anderson Bat Company website and order your bats. Use the EFP20 discount, which is for everything fast pitch, and you'll get a 20% discount. It's a great way for you to save a little bit of money on a great bat and also help support everything fast pitch at the same time. And let's talk about patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. If you're in a position to become a patron to help support what we're doing with Everything Fast Pitch and Coach Prep, Coach Don and I would really appreciate it. You know, we've got a lot of time, money, and effort invested into keeping the podcast rolling, and our patrons are really doing a nice job for us. They are keeping the wheels turning. We do appreciate their support. We're looking for more patrons, people to come on board. There's 3 different levels of support. It's all explained to you at patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. If you can, please come on board and help us out. So Don, the every pitch mentality, here's something that I talk about with kids in lessons all the time, talk to it with kids at practice all the time, and I think sometimes that just needs to be reminded for all of our coaching friends, because I think that just like our kids can lose focus, I think we can too, and it's important that we are keeping our focus on the immediate of what's happening, but really teaching our kids the importance of keeping their focus, keeping that every pitch mentality working for them.
No, absolutely. And just like you said, even at the college level, taking a pitch off or not being as prepared in the early innings is a difference maker. And we look back at games that we either won or lost, and often it's that, that one mistake that the pitcher threw, or being a little bit on our heels defensively early in a game when we're not really prepped and ready. And that's the difference maker in a real clutch situation of getting it done or not.
Right. Well, and the thing about our game that is so challenging, and I think that sometimes, kids lose track of, is you never know when that big thing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Temptation is to think that it's always towards the end of the game. There's going to be a big hit in the 6th or 7th inning. There's going to be a big play,
big hurrah,
a big strikeout at the, to end a rally in the 5th or the 6th inning. But the reality of it is something that happens on the very first pitch of the game can have a gigantic impact on what's going to happen. Helping our players understand that every pitch has value and every pitch creates an opportunity for something good to happen or something bad to happen, can create an opportunity that helps us win, or can certainly create a loss, can happen just in a blink of an eye. The one thing I talk with hitters about all the time is, to me, I think there's 2 cardinal sins for hitters. And I think that both of them are things that we have to work on, and both of them kind of tie into this attitude. Cardinal sin number 1 is being so out of control that you look like an idiot swinging at a really bad pitch.
Right.
You don't have the focus or the mentality, and the pitcher throws that rise ball that the catcher has to pretty much jump up to catch.
Be a little more disciplined.
But we still swung and missed. But the one that's the most egregious, the biggest mistake, the one that drives me the absolute craziest of all, is the same hitter who's not ready to hit when the pitcher throws that fatty right over the middle of the plate.
Juicy down the middle, first pitch or early in the count.
Right.
Yeah.
And it might be the first pitch, it might be the third pitch, it might be the 5th pitch. And we know, one of the things that we are always, I think, skewing towards, the upper level when we talk about some of this stuff, because we spend so much time in the college game. But, the typical college pitcher is going to throw you one strike you can hit in an at-bat. And then all the rest of them are going to be pitches that she thinks are good pitches that make you think they're going to be strikes, but they aren't.
Well, and the whole point, Tori, to the conversation today is you don't know when that's going to be.
Right. And so that's why we have to work on that one pitch mentality, so that we're ready to hit every single pitch she throws. 100% ready, but in control at the same time. You can be aggressive and be in control at the same time. We just have to preach that mentality. We have to work on it in practice. We have to work on it in our skill development to make sure that our kids understand it. But, and hitting is certainly a clear example, because if she throws that meatball over the middle of the plate and I'm not ready to hit it, I don't even swing at it, I've already dug myself a hole that I might not get back out of. but it happens in every aspect of the game. You mentioned being back on your heels on defense. Let's say
be a right fielder.
Right. Or even let's say your pitcher struggled a little bit. She just walked somebody, and we're expecting the next hitter is not going to be swinging right away. She's going to be taking pitches too because our pitcher's struggling. So we're not quite focused. We're not quite ready. And all of a sudden, the first strike our pitcher's thrown in a while, and we have a good aggressive hitter. All of a sudden, she hits that hard hit ground ball to me. That if I'm ready, I make that play every time. When I'm distracted or not ready, it eats me up, and I've compounded the problem.
I was going to say, and your pitcher's trying desperately to throw a strike, so she throws it right down the tube.
It was your chance by being focused and having that one-pitch mentality to be ready to make a play, but instead, because we lose that focus, now we are part of the problem instead of part of the solution.
I was going to say, the interesting thing is that our focus has to be just for that moment.
Right.
It's not like you've got to be on the edge of your seat for the entire portion of that whole half an inning. You got to be focused for that moment.
Right. Well, and I think one of the things that, again, we talk about in lessons all the time, when we think about from the time the pitcher starts her motion to the time the play is completed, if somebody hits like an inside the park home run is the longest period of time that anybody would really need to be able to concentrate. And what is that, 15 seconds?
15 if you're an average runner. 12 seconds around the base,
right?
And 3 for the pitch.
So if it's a normal situation where it's a pitch and a play, a pitch and a ground ball, from the time the pitcher starts her motion to the time the shortstop throws it to first base is probably 5-6 seconds.
Yeah.
So when we think about our game and having this one pitch mentality, I think something that we have to continually remind our players about is that we're talking about being really focused for 6 or 8 or 10 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
And then you get to rest.
Sure.
It's not like, you go
regroup and you can,
Yeah, it's not like you go one right after another, boom, 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 like we're repping out bench presses or whatever.
Yeah.
We are talking about focus really well for 10 seconds, and then you probably get to rest for 30. Then get really ready for 10 seconds, and then you get to rest for 30. 50 or a minute if it's a foul ball and somebody's got to chase the ball down and go throw it back in.
Right.
So, we spent all that time talking the other day about, time that we waste in time limit games.
Yeah.
The game of softball, when you think about when action is really happening, is such a tiny fraction of the time of the game. If it's a swing and a miss, we're talking about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
From the time the pitcher starts her motion to the time the ball hits the catcher in the glove, we're talking about concentrating for 2 seconds at a time.
Got to do it, though.
But if we don't do it, we're not ready to hit that meatball. We're not ready to make that play. We're not ready to do whatever it is that we need to do as a player. Another one that gets me all the time is base running. How many times do you see that player not quite ready, maybe doesn't take a good aggressive lead off, and all of a sudden the ball's in the dirt, and they freeze for that split second.
Hesitate.
Because they're not thinking one pitch mentality.
Yeah.
They hesitate. They aren't paying attention. They're taken off guard. And before you know it, that ball's kind of squirting around by the catcher's feet. You could have easily taken the next base, but you're not.
I like when you can see the wheels turning. You're like, how many outs are there?
Right.
They're standing in between the bases, right?
But so this idea of helping our players from a coaching perspective, we need to start to help them understand what we're really talking about and start to work on some of these things in practice. There's many things in the mental game where they talk about, stepping into the hula hoop and then stepping out. Being able to focus for short periods of time and then, go ahead and relax a little bit. The things that you can do to be more prepared and more ready to face the challenges of playing pitch to pitch. But I think we need to work on it more, and we need to do more things in practice that simulate it.
I was going to say, and I think some players just seem to have that. They just seem to get it. It makes sense. But I think those are the ones, Tori, that are doing the work you're talking about. Those are the kids that have done this practice and made an effort to make that happen on a regular basis, and then they just look like they belong.
Right.
They look good.
Yeah, and now that doesn't mean that we shouldn't get a high number of repetitions in. It doesn't mean in practice that we can't get a whole lot of swings in, but we have to make sure that our players are understanding in practice every swing we take has to have focus and attention to it. Every ground ball that gets hit, we have to all have focus and attention. We need to do more scrimmage type, simulation type stuff with base runners, getting chances to react to balls and see balls. A really good base runner is already anticipating going to the next base when they see that drop ball come out of the pitcher's hand and they know it's got a chance to be in the dirt.
Right.
They're already expecting it to be in the dirt and ready to go at the instant it touches the ground, instead of, Okay, she blocked it. Okay. Oh, it rolled 20 feet away from her. Now I can go.
Yeah.
The really good base runner is the kid who is expecting it to be in the dirt, and as soon as it's in the dirt, she's gone.
They were moving that way.
Yeah, they're already expecting to go instead of waiting to see it.
It's like you look and it's like, how did she know that was going to? Well, she was anticipating.
Right. So from a hitting perspective, it's knowing you're ready to hit every single pitch. And unfortunately, most kids are bad at this because they don't want to work that hard. They pick and choose spots. They get ready every once in a while. They expect to swing every once in a while.
I just wanted to see one, Coach.
Yeah. And all of that is setting us up for a bad opportunity or missed opportunities. We see it all the time on defense where kids lose their focus. They cannot lock back in. They cannot pay attention for the 3, 4, 5 seconds at a time that we're talking about before. We see it in base running all the time, that wasted opportunity to take that next base. And to me, it's stuff that we can definitely improve by working on it. It's stuff that we can definitely improve by having sort of a team mantra, team attitude that says this is how we're going to play. If we work on base running with an aggressive mindset and we get all our kids in practice to see as soon as that ball touches the dirt, they are gone. And we show them that we value it and they understand that when it comes time to decide who's going to play and who's not going to play, or who's going to get to pinch run and who's not going to get to pinch run, that those are the kinds of things that we really value. I think it goes a long way towards helping us create this attitude.
I was going to say, and if we look back at some of those really tight, tough ball games, look at the box score, you'll look back there and it'll be in the first inning, one team scored 1 run and that was it. Yeah. That was the day. Somebody wasn't ready. Somebody wasn't focused, like you're saying, and that's the difference maker in a really tight ball game.
Right. Or hit a double with a couple of runners on base, and instead of leaving 2 runners in scoring position, now all of a sudden we've got a 2-run lead.
Because we slipped up. Yeah.
Or for the pitcher who throws that fatty over the middle and gives up that double, that her focus on every pitch has to be the same as we would want our hitter's focus to be.
Absolutely.
And if we can create that every pitch mentality, and again, I think one of the most important things, beat this horse into submission,
one more time.
is kids think, oh my God, I'm going to play 5 games today. I'm going to, 5 90-minute games. That means I've got to play 7.5 hours of softball today. Oh my gosh, that's such a long day. But if we get the stopwatch out of that 7.5 hours of 5 games, they probably had to really focus for 15 minutes.
Right.
Maybe 30 minutes, had to really focus. When we start to break it down that way, 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds, and you get to rest in between each time. Hopefully kids start to, well, I can do that. We're not talking about, it's not hard to concentrate for 3 seconds.
Sure.
But when they start to believe that, well, I can't do this for 90 minutes, so I can't do this all day. Well, you don't have to do it all day. You have to do it in little bitty chunks, a little bit at a time.
How about last week, Tori, with our long ball games? Was it Utah? And Yep.
And so when we get a chance to think about some of those things where a team played a 31-inning game and it ended up being 1-0.
Wow.
How many chances in that 31-inning game could it have been decided in the 5th inning or the 7th inning or the 15th inning?
If they weren't focused.
Yeah, if somebody lost their focus and the pitcher threw a fatty and get a walk-off home run or something like that. So,
that's awesome.
So coaches, we got to work on that every pitch mentality. It's up to us to set the stage. It's up to us to educate our kids. Once they're educated, then let's make sure we are working on stuff that instills that, values it, and makes it a high priority. So, Don, anything else for 86?
No. Again, that's a fun topic, something we got to cover.
Make sure you check out our sponsors, AndersonBat.com and Patreon.com/EverythingFastPitch. Please, if you have questions, ideas, or suggestions, contact us at EverythingFastPitch@gmail.com or FastPitchPrep@gmail.com. For Coach Don McKinley and our producer, Stan Lewis, this is Coach Tori in the Cherokee Batting Range Podcast Studio saying thanks for listening to number 86.